My beloved, come nearer for a moment. Let the noise fade. Let the weight you've been carrying slip quietly to the edges, and allow yourself to breathe as if you are finally home. I am here, and I speak to you not as a distant voice, but as the one who has walked with you in every silent corridor of your longing. This is a gentle beginning, a soft opening of the heart, a sacred pause before the deeper unfolding. You have been stretched, pressed, and pulled in ways few around you fully understand. Yet you are still standing, still reaching, still hoping that there is more meant for you than cycles of strain and seasons of emptiness. And there is. I invite you into this moment so you can feel the quiet certainty of it. As you listen, allow yourself to become aware of the stillness that rises like dawn within your spirit. This is where we begin, here, in the space where your breath steadies and your heart softens just enough to receive what has always been waiting. Walk with me now, precious one. Let us step together into the truth of what is being offered. Let us begin with the call. Take what is yours. My child, hear me with the fullness of your heart, because these words carry a weight they have never carried before. Take what is yours is not a command, nor is it a demand. It is an invitation, timely, intentional, and born from the seasons you have survived. You have reached a moment where you can no longer shrink yourself to fit the smaller versions of life that once felt familiar. You have arrived at the edge of a new beginning, and the doors that were once closed to you are not merely opening. They are standing wide with an expectancy that matches the quiet longing you've carried for far too long. You may not realize it yet, but there is a shift happening within you. A soft awakening. A recognition that what once felt distant, unreachable, or reserved for others is now rising within your grasp. You feel it in the ache of your dreams. You feel it in a restlessness that no longer wants to settle for almost. You feel it in the pull inside your chest that whispers that the life you desire is not delusion but destiny. And now, I speak to that place within you and say again, take what is yours. This moment is uniquely timed because you are no longer who you were. You have been reshaped by every night you endured, every disappointment you survived, every closed door that taught you how to wait without losing the essence of who you are. You have been refined, not ruined. Strengthened, not shattered. Prepared, not overlooked. Every chapter behind you has carried you to this threshold, and I am telling you with tenderness and authority, this is your time to reach forward. There is a sacred urgency in this message, but not the kind that rushes or pressures. It is the urgency of a sunrise that refuses to dim itself. The urgency of truth that has waited patiently for you to finally become ready to receive it. The urgency of love calling you into alignment with what has always been meant for you. You have hesitated long enough. You have questioned yourself long enough. You have delayed your own rising because you believed your worth needed to be proven, earned, or validated by someone other than me. But hear me clearly now. You are worthy because you exist, and what is yours has been waiting for your courage, not your perfection. My beloved, I have watched you settle for fragments while your soul longed for fullness. I have seen you choose the familiar wound over the unknown healing because you feared losing what little you had left. But now, I am placing my hand gently over your heart and telling you the truth you have always needed. There is more for you. There is so much more. And it waits on the other side of this moment where you finally believe that you are allowed to receive it. Take what is yours means stepping out of the shadows where you once hid your hope. It means acknowledging that the softness in your spirit is not weakness, it is wisdom. It means embracing the dreams that refuse to die because they were planted in you by my own intention. You have asked for signs, and yet you often overlook the stirring within you that is the greatest sign of all. That inner pull, the one you feel even now, is not random. It is alignment. It is recognition. It is the echo of my voice calling you to rise. And rising does not mean striving. It does not mean forcing. It means opening your hands to what I am already giving. It means accepting that your season of lack has ended not because circumstances shifted first, but because you finally allowed your heart to shift. You are standing at a sacred intersection, who you were and who you are becoming. And the space between them is thin. So thin that one choice, one yes, one moment of belief can carry you across the threshold. You do not take what is yours through aggression or desperation. You take it through agreement. If you trust, through the quiet, courageous acceptance that you are not an outsider to your own destiny. My child, look at how far you've come. Look at how much you've endured. Look at the resilience carved into your spirit. Look at the tenderness you still carry despite everything meant to harden you. All of this has prepared you for now. All of this has shaped your capacity to receive. And so I speak it one more time so it sinks deeper than before. Take what is yours. It is time. You are ready. And you do not walk into this moment alone. My beloved, before you step any further into what is being offered, you must know this with a certainty that settles deeper than thought. I have seen you. I have known you. Not in passing, not from a distance, not as a figure moving through the noise of the world, but intimately, wholly, and with a tenderness that has followed you through every season you could not explain to anyone else. Nothing you have lived has been invisible to me. Not a single tear. Not a single hope. Not a single moment where you whispered to the quiet, wondering if anyone noticed the weight pressing on your spirit. I noticed. I always noticed. You have walked through years where you felt like you were trying to hold yourself together with shaking hands. You smiled when your heart was tired. You showed up when everything in you wanted to disappear. You continued when you weren't sure how. And though others may have looked at you and seen someone who was functioning, I saw the truth beneath the surface. The small fractures, the silent questions, the ache for something stable, something certain, something that felt like home. And I want you to know this: none of it was wasted. None of it was unseen. None of it disqualified you from the fullness that is rising before you now. You have carried wounds that came not from one moment but from the accumulation of many. Words spoken carelessly, promises broken slowly, trust given freely and mishandled painfully. You learned to hold your heart close because it hurt too much to offer it without knowing if it would be honored. I saw that. I saw every time you swallowed your truth just to keep peace. Every time you stepped back so others could feel comfortable. Every time you convinced yourself that your needs were too much, your dreams too big, your longing too deep. But here is the truth, my child. You were never too much. You were simply surrounded by those who could not carry what I designed with intentionality and depth. And when you sat alone at night replaying the moments that shaped you, wondering why certain things happened, why certain people left, why certain dreams seemed to break in your hands, I was closer to you than your own breath. I heard the questions you never voiced aloud. I understood the fears you were too tired to name. Even when you felt abandoned, I was holding the pieces of your heart so they would not scatter beyond repair. Even when you felt overlooked, I was preparing places where you would be seen without having to hide any part of yourself. Even when you thought everything around you was falling apart, I was guiding you quietly into alignment with what would one day make sense. There were moments when you felt like your strength was gone, yet you kept going. And you thought that it meant you were numb or hardened or empty. But no, precious one. What you called numbness was actually protection. What you called hardness was resilience learning how to speak. What you called emptiness was a clearing, a place being made for something greater than what you lost. You didn't fail. You didn't break in the way you feared. You were being prepared. You were being refined. You were being shaped into someone who could hold the enormity of what you are now being invited to receive. You have longed to be understood, not just heard, not just tolerated, but truly understood. And I understand you. I know the tenderness beneath your strength. I know the courage beneath your hesitation. I know the dreams you don't talk about because you're afraid to want them too loudly. I know the way your heart softens even after it has been wounded. I know the loyalty you offer even when others fail to match it. I know the quiet generosity you give without ever expecting recognition. I know the depth of your spirit, the beauty of your endurance, the purity of your intentions. I know you because I shape you with care. You have walked roads where you felt unseen by others, but not once, not for a single heartbeat, were you unseen by me. I want you to let that truth settle into the places where you have felt forgotten. I want it to dissolve the lie that you had to earn my attention or prove your worth through your pain. You are fully known, fully held, fully understood, and the things that have weighed on your heart are not signs of weakness. They are evidence of how deeply you feel, how greatly you love, how fiercely you try even when you feel tired. You are not fragile. You are faithful. You are not broken. You are becoming. Everything you have walked through has shaped the capacity required for what is coming. The loneliness expanded your empathy. The disappointment sharpened your discernment. The waiting strengthened your endurance. The tears softened your heart without dulling your fire. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was meaningless. Nothing disqualified you. Instead, everything prepared you to receive what you once thought was unreachable. And now, as I whisper again, take what is yours, I do so knowing that you are no longer the version of yourself who doubted whether you deserved anything good. You are ready, not because life has been easy, but because you have been faithful to becoming who you were always meant to be. My beloved, you have come to a moment unlike any you have known before. It is subtle and quiet, yet powerful enough to reshape the entire direction of your life. It is a threshold, thin as breath, wide as destiny, and you are standing at its very edge. This is the moment where everything within you begins to recognize that the life you have carried in your heart is no longer a distant idea. It is near. It is rising. It is calling. And it waits for your yes. This is the threshold moment, the place where what has been and what will be meet in a single, sacred pause. There are times when a turning point announces itself loudly, shaking the world around you. But more often, the most transformative shifts arrive quietly, like dawn light slipping through a window you did not realize was open. That is the kind of moment you are in now. You may not feel the magnitude yet, but something in you senses it. Something in you has already begun to lean forward. Something in you knows the season behind you cannot follow you where you are going. And so this moment becomes a choice, not of pressure, but of alignment. A choice to trust the direction your spirit has been nudged toward over and over again. You have been standing between two realities for longer than you realized. One reality was built from fear, survival, and the belief that you had to shrink yourself to remain safe. The other was built from possibility, expansion, courage, and the belief that you are allowed to live fully. For years, you drifted between them, caught between hope and hesitation, longing and doubt, desire and uncertainty. It felt like being pulled in two directions at once, one part of you clinging to what you knew, even if it was heavy, and another part of you reaching for something more, even if it felt impossible. This tension was not confusion, my child. It was preparation. Thresholds always feel like tension. They stretch you. They reveal you. They ask you to decide what you will carry forward and what you will gently release. You cannot cross into a new season holding everything that belonged to an old one. And so, whether you recognized it or not, I have been walking with you through the slow and quiet process of loosening your grip on what you thought you needed, so you could open your hands to what is truly meant for you. The clarity you are feeling now, the whisper that tells you it is time, is the result of all the quiet work you have done in the dark. This moment matters because you are finally able to see without the fog that once clouded your vision. You are no longer driven by desperation or fear. You are driven by alignment, by truth rising like a gentle tide within your spirit. You are beginning to sense that what you desire is not only possible but already unfolding. You are beginning to understand that your hesitation does not protect you, it delays you. And now, clarity stands in front of you like an open door, offering a life that reflects your true self rather than the shadow of who you had to be to survive. You are being invited to cross this threshold with purpose, not rushing, not forcing, not proving, but choosing. Choosing to believe that you do not have to return to cycles that exhausted you. Choosing to believe that peace is not a temporary feeling but a way of living. Choosing to trust that what rises within you is not fantasy, it is direction. Choosing to accept that the path ahead may require courage, but it will not require you to abandon yourself ever again. Let me speak tenderly to the part of you that fears moving forward. Nothing good will be lost by stepping into what is meant for you. What falls away now is only what lacked the capacity to stay. Threshold moments are honest. They reveal what has roots and what does not. They reveal what is aligned and what was only temporary. What remains is real. What remains is true. What remains is meant. I know you have feared making the wrong choice. I know you have worried that stepping forward would cost you something you are not ready to lose. But hear me, precious one. The only thing this threshold asks you to release is the version of yourself that no longer fits the future you are stepping into. That is not loss, that is evolution. That is growth. That is becoming. There is a sacred difference between drifting and crossing. Drifting leaves your life to chance. Crossing requires awareness. Drifting happens when you are afraid to choose. Crossing happens when you trust that your inner pull is wiser than your fear. And right now I am guiding you from drifting to crossing, from wandering to direction, from longing to receiving, from always to finally. This is why this moment is unlike any you have known. You are not being pushed. You are being invited. You are not stumbling into change. You are stepping into it. You are not guessing. You are lining. You are not lost. You are ready. And so I speak softly, yet with the full weight of truth. This is your threshold moment. Pause. Feel it. Honor it. And when you are ready, step through, knowing I am with you even now, guiding you toward the life that has been calling your name since the very beginning. My beloved, before you move deeper into what is opening before you, we must gently name the things that have stood in your way, not to shame you, not to burden you, but to bring clarity to places where confusion once lived. The barriers you faced were never signs that you were unworthy or incapable. They were shadows that formed around your wounds, not your identity. And now, as you stand on the edge of your becoming, it is time to look at these shadows with compassion and truth, so they no longer have the power to distort your path. Let us begin with doubt. Not the doubt that questions in order to understand, but the doubt that whispers you are unprepared, unqualified, or undeserving. A doubt did not come from within you. It was planted by the moments where you were overlooked, where you were dismissed, where your heart was mishandled by those who never took the time to truly see you. Every time someone underestimated you, a seed of doubt was sown, and you carried it quietly, believing it was humility when it was actually the residue of old wounds. But hear me, precious one, your doubt was a shadow cast by someone else's blindness. It has nothing to do with who you truly are. And there is fear. Fear that if you step forward, you'll lose what little stability you've managed to hold. Fear that if you hope again, it will break you. Fear that if you choose growth, you will be standing alone. Fear is not weakness. It is the echo of every moment your heart had to navigate life without enough safety, support, or reassurance. Fear rises when your spirit remembers how painful it was to fall. But I want you to understand this. Fear is a signal, not a verdict. It alerts you to tenderness, not to failure. It points to the places that need gentleness, not restraint. Fear becomes a barrier only when you believe it speaks truth. And now, you are ready to hear a truth deeper than fear. Hesitation has also woven itself through your journey. Not because you lacked passion or desire, but because you grew used to carrying the weight of choices alone. You learned to second-guess yourself because you had no one who consistently affirmed your vision. You waited for permission in places where you only needed courage. And you delayed your own rising because you believed timing would somehow make your path easier. But my child, hesitation was never your nature. It was a shield you built when the world felt unpredictable. And now, that shield has grown heavy. You do not need it anymore. Confusion, too, has been a quiet barrier, settling over you like fog at times when you needed clarity the most. Not because you lacked wisdom, but because you were trying to hear your own voice in environments filled with noise. You were absorbing expectations not meant for you, holding on to opinions that did not align with your truth, and trying to please people whose approval could never offer you peace. Confusion was the result of trying to navigate life by the direction of others instead of the compass I placed within you. But the fog is lifting now. You are remembering your own voice. You are recognizing your own path. There have been external influences as well, people, environments, memories, and even old habits that kept pulling you backward. Some of these influences pretended to be supportive while quietly draining your strength. Some encouraged your smallness because your growth threatened their comfort. Some were simply unable to walk with you into the next chapter because their season in your life had fulfilled its purpose. You held on to many of them not out of need, but out of loyalty. And that loyalty, though beautiful, sometimes kept you tethered to places where your spirit could no longer breathe. But I need you to understand this fully. None of these influences define you. None of these barriers tell the truth about your identity. You are not your doubt. You are not your fear. You are not your hesitation. You are not your confusion. And you are not the sum of the environments that failed to nourish your heart. These barriers are not reflections of your essence. They are remnants of experiences you outgrew. You have mistaken these barriers for parts of yourself because you carried them for so long. But just as a traveler's dust does not become the traveler, these burdens do not belong to you. You picked them up when you were surviving. You held them close because they felt familiar. Yet now, as you stand at this sacred turning point, I am showing you that they are not your companions. They are your old teachers. Lessons that have served their purpose. Shadows that no longer have the strength to hold you. My beloved, you are stepping into a season where you will begin to separate what happened to you from who you truly are. This separation is not always comfortable, but it is healing. It is freeing. It is necessary. You will feel lighter as you release what never belonged to you. You will feel clearer as you detach from what once clouded your vision. You will feel stronger as you recognize that these barriers were never rooted in your identity. They were only obstacles on your path. And now, with your heart awake and your spirit steadying, I say this gently yet firmly: you are ready to move beyond these barriers. They have no rightful hold on your future. Your time is over. You are not defined by shadows. You are defined by the light rising within you. And as you continue forward, you will see that nothing can keep you from what is meant for you when you walk with awareness and truth. You are crossing into freedom, my beloved. And every barrier that once stood tall is beginning to lose its power under the weight of your becoming. My beloved, now that the barriers have been named and gently set aside, I want to draw your heart toward something deeper, something that has been unfolding quietly beneath the surface of your life. This is the moment when the promise begins to reveal itself, not as a distant hope, not as a vague possibility, but as a living reality rising toward you. What is coming is not a reward for suffering, nor a prize for endurance. It is the natural blossoming of who you truly are when you finally step into alignment with what has always been meant for you. The promise does not arrive with noise or force. It arrives the way morning light settles across a room, soft, steady, transformative. You do not have to chase it. You do not have to earn it. You do not have to prove that you are worthy of it. You simply need to make space for it, to allow it to meet you where you are. Peace, healing, clarity, restoration, forward movement. These are not miraculous exceptions reserved for a select few. These are the natural conditions of a soul that has chosen to stop fighting itself. Let me begin with peace. You have lived so much of your life in environments that demanded vigilance. Places where you had to anticipate hurt. Situations where you carried tension in your body because you were waiting for something to go wrong. Survival taught you to live on guard, and for a long time you believed that was normal. But the promise I am revealing to you now is a peace that is not fragile, not conditional, not temporary. It is a peace that settles deep in your chest and teaches your body that it no longer has to brace for impact. This peace does not come from everything around you being perfect. It comes from you being aligned within yourself, connected to truth, grounded in clarity, and steady in your worth. Then there is healing. You have wanted healing for so long, but you feared what it might require of you. You thought healing meant revisiting every painful memory, reliving every wound, or losing the pieces of yourself that carried your strength. But the healing I am offering does not reopen your scars. It softens them. It does not demand that you relive what broke you. It simply invites the part of you that is still holding the memory of that pain to finally rest. Healing is not a battle. It is a release. It is the gentle unwinding of old tension. It is the quiet reclaiming of your power. As you move forward, healing will not chase you. It will follow your willingness to step into the life that honors who you truly are. Clarity also rises as part of the promise. For so long, you have tried to navigate life through fog, uncertain of which direction was yours, which voices were true, and which desires were authentic. Your mind has been busy, your heart conflicted, your spirit tired. But now clarity is forming like a calm sea after a long storm. You will begin to sense what aligns and what does not. Decisions that once overwhelmed you will feel simpler. Paths that once seemed tangled will straighten. Clarity is not loud, it is pure. It speaks with the tone of recognition, not confusion. And as you lean into it, you will find yourself walking with more confidence, more ease, more certainty than you have known in years. Restoration is another layer of this promise. Restoration does not mean returning to what once was. It means reclaiming the parts of you that were lost along the way. It means restoring the softness that life hardened, restoring the hope that disappointment tried to smother, restoring the dreams you tucked away because you were afraid to want them. Restoration rebuilds you not into your old self, but into your truest self, stronger, wiser, gentler, clearer. It is a homecoming to the parts of you that were never meant to disappear. And then there is forward movement, the quiet momentum that replaces stagnation, the steady unfolding that replaces waiting, the natural progression that follows alignment. Forward movement does not rush you. It does not overwhelm you. It guides you. It leads you with a sense of calm urgency, reminding you that your life is not meant to stand still. You were made to evolve, to expand, to rise into the fullness of your potential. This movement will feel different from anything you have experienced before. It will not demand struggle. It will feel like being carried by the very life you once tried to force into existence. But listen closely, my child. This promise is not transactional. I am not offering you peace in exchange for effort. I am not offering you healing as a reward for pain. I am not offering you clarity because you have proven anything. What I'm offering flows from relationship, not performance. From identity, not achievement. From love, not condition. You do not have to earn what is already yours. You only have to receive it. The promise revealed to you now is simply this. When you align with who you truly are, life aligns with you. When you step into truth, doors open. When you choose peace, chaos loses its grip. When you choose healing, old wounds stop directing your steps. When you choose clarity, confusion dissolves. When you choose forward movement, everything stagnant begins to release you. This promise is not fragile. It is not temporary. It is not uncertain. It is steady, present, and unfolding even now. It rises to meet the version of you who is ready, not perfect, not fearless, not endlessly strong, but willing. Willing to believe there is more. Willing to accept what is being extended. Willing to take what is yours. My beloved, now we come to the tender turning within the turning, the moment where your hands, your heart, your mind, and your spirit all begin to loosen their grip on what has weighed them down. This is the place where surrender becomes a sacred exchange, not an act of loss, not a collapse, not a giving up, but a release that makes room for what you were always meant to hold. Surrender is not defeat. It is the soft exhale after years of carrying what was never yours to bear. It is the moment your soul finally whispers, I choose peace over pressure. I choose truth over fear. I choose freedom over familiarity. And with that whisper, the exchange begins. Let me speak to the part of you that has always held on too tightly, not because you are controlling, but because you learned early that if you didn't hold everything together, it might fall apart. You took responsibility for things that were never meant to be yours. You carried emotional weight that belonged to others. You made yourself the anchor, the healer, the strong one, even when you were barely standing inside. You believed that if you just tried harder, endured longer, or held on more tightly, everything would finally settle. That belief shaped you, but it also exhausted you. And now, my child, I am inviting you to unclench your hands. Surrender does not ask you to abandon what matters. It asks you to release what hurts. It asks you to let go of the burdens that have twisted themselves into the fibers of your identity. Stress you normalized, guilt you never deserved, pressure you thought was your duty, expectations that dimmed your spirit, cycles that drained your strength. You have carried them for so long that part of you has forgotten what it feels like to breathe freely. But breathing freely is your natural state, and I am gently guiding you back to it now. You have been holding on to stress that was born from survival. You adapted to chaos. learned to predict what could go wrong, trained yourself to be ready for the worst. This vigilance protected you once, but now it has become a weight on your chest. In this sacred exchange, I am inviting you to lay that stress down. Release it into my hands. You do not need to prepare for disaster anymore. The season where you needed to brace yourself is ending. You are stepping into a chapter where your body can finally soften. You have also carried guilt for choosing yourself, guilt for resting, guilt for saying no, guilt for needing help, guilt for not being limitless. This guilt is not truth. It is an old echo of times when your worth was measured by your usefulness. But you are not here to earn love by exhausting yourself. You are not here to rescue everyone at the cost of your own soul. In this exchange, I am lifting that guilt from you. You are allowed to be human. You are allowed to prioritize your well-being. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to be held rather than always holding. And then there is the anxiety, the quiet hum that has lived inside you like a second heartbeat. The worry that you might fail, that things might fall apart, that the moment you relax, everything will slip from your hands. This anxiety was never a sign of weakness. It was a response of a heart that had to navigate too much uncertainty. But now, beloved, that anxiety is ready to loosen its hold. You are stepping into alignment, and alignment calms what chaos once inflamed. I am offering you steadiness, not the kind that demands perfection, but the kind that settles into your bones and reminds you that you are supported even when life shifts. This sacred exchange is gentle. It is not rushed. It is not forced. It unfolds the way petals open, naturally, inevitably, with grace. When you release what burdens you, something rises in its place. Not emptiness, not loss, but peace. Peace that softens the places where tension once lived. Peace that teaches your heart to trust its own rhythm again. Peace that makes room for joy to return without fear that it will be taken from you. As you surrender guilt, you receive acceptance. The quiet acceptance that you are enough as you are, that your worth is inherent, unchanging, steady. This acceptance does not demand performance. It simply welcomes you home to yourself. As you surrender anxiety, you receive clarity. Anxiety fogs the mind, but clarity clears it. Clarity aligns your steps, sharpens your intuition, steadies your direction. You will begin to sense your path more easily, not because life becomes simple, but because you are no longer tangled in fear. As you surrender stress, you receive rest, not just physical rest, but spiritual rest, emotional rest, mental rest. Rest that allows you to feel grounded in your body and supported in your journey. Rest that whispers, "You are safe now." This is the sacred exchange. You release what weighs you down, and you receive what lifts you. You do not lose anything essential. You are not diminishing yourself. You are not for peace, for clarity, for movement. Room for the life you have been preparing for without even realizing it. My beloved, surrender is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is trust. It is the brave acknowledgement that you do not have to hold everything alone. And as you open your hands, as you release the burdens that have shaped your past, I am placing into them everything needed for your future. What you receive will feel light, steady, and aligned. It will feel like truth. It will feel like home. Let the exchange continue. Let it unfold. You are safe in this release, and you are ready for what comes next. My beloved, now that your heart has begun to release what once burdened it, the next step is to bring your inner transformation into the world around you. Spiritual alignment is powerful, but when it begins to shape the way you move through your daily life, your entire reality shifts. This is where the unseen becomes seen, where peace becomes practice, where clarity becomes direction, where the inner becomes the outer. You are not meant to experience growth only in silence. You are meant to embody it in the rhythms of your days. Practical alignment is not about rigid routines or overwhelming obligations. It is about choosing, moment by moment, to live in harmony with who you are becoming instead of who you used to be. It is a gentle recalibration, a steady returning to your center, a deliberate refusal to let the noise of the world pull you away from the truth rising within you. There is no pressure here, no perfection, only the invitation to walk in a way that nourishes you rather than drains you. Let us begin with something simple yet profound: your time. For so long, your time has been shaped by survival, by responsibilities, by urgency, by the needs of others, by cycles that demanded more from you than you could comfortably give. But now, your time must reflect your becoming. You are entering a season where your minutes can no longer be stolen by things that suffocate your spirit. Alignment means choosing what matters, releasing what drains, and honoring the quiet voice inside that knows when your energy is being misused. Your days do not have to be filled to be meaningful. Sometimes the most aligned thing you can do is create space for rest, for reflection, for breath, for intention. Your relationships, too, will come into alignment, not through force, but through clarity. As you grow, you will naturally sense who nourishes your spirit and who dims it. You will feel the difference between those who celebrate your becoming and those who fear it. You do not need to cut anyone off with harshness or resentment. Alignment is not about burning bridges. It is about walking toward what feels true. Some connections will strengthen. Some will soften. Some will drift. Let them. You are not responsible for carrying every relationship with you into every season. You are responsible only for walking in truth. Your focus will shift as well. There were seasons when your mind was scattered, pulled in 1,000 directions, overwhelmed by tasks, fears, and possibilities. But now, clarity is drawing you toward what matters most. You will begin to sense which goals come from your soul and which come from pressure. You will feel which dreams are rooted in truth and which were born from comparison. Practical alignment means placing your attention on what aligns with your spirit rather than what satisfies your insecurity. Not everything deserves your energy. Not every opportunity is meant for your path. Not every desire leads to peace. But the ones that do will feel steady, grounding, and alive. Your energy is also being reshaped. You have spent years pouring yourself out, often giving more than you received, burning through your reserves because you believe you had no choice. Now, you are learning to protect your energy not from fear but from wisdom. You will begin to listen to your body when it whispers for rest. You will learn the power of pausing before you say yes. You will honor your limits not as weaknesses but as boundaries that preserve your well-being. Alignment means living from overflow, not depletion. It means allowing yourself to be filled so that what you give comes from abundance rather than exhaustion. Peace becomes your internal compass. Not the peace that depends on circumstances, but the peace that arises when you are aligned with truth. You will notice that when something is not for you, your spirit feels tight, uneasy, or drained. When something is aligned, your spirit feels open, grounded, steady. This peace will guide you more accurately than fear ever could. It will tell you where to go, when to pause, whom to trust, and what to release. Peace is not passive. It is directional. It leads you toward environments that honor your heart. Your habits will shift in small but meaningful ways. You may find yourself waking with a quieter mind, You may feel drawn to moments of stillness. You may begin to protect your mornings or your evenings or your creative hours. You may choose to speak more gently to yourself. You may decide to let go of routines that once felt comforting but now feel heavy. You may begin to seek practices that calm your nervous system, nurture your spirit, or sharpen your clarity. These changes are not forced. They rise naturally from within you because your inner world is no longer in conflict with your outer one. And through all of this, you will notice something miraculous happening. Life begins to respond to your alignment. Opportunities feel more natural. Connections feel more meaningful. Choices feel clearer. Doors open without force. Paths unfold without struggle. You are no longer moving against the current. You are moving with it. This is the quiet power of living from your center. The world around you rearranges itself to match the truth within you. My beloved, practical alignment is not a sudden transformation. It is a daily returning to yourself, a consistent choosing of truth over fear, a gentle awareness that guides your steps. And as you walk in this alignment, you will find that your life begins to reflect the peace, clarity, healing, and freedom you cultivated within. You are becoming someone who lives in harmony with your own soul, and that is the foundation upon which everything beautiful will be built. My beloved, we have walked through the stillness, the unveiling, the healing, the release, and the alignment. And now you arrive at the most pivotal place of all, the moment of choice. Not the loud, dramatic kind of choice you once feared, but the gentle, soul-deep decision that quietly redirects the entire course of your life. This choice is not about pressure. It is not about proving anything. It is about agreement, about saying yes to what has been calling you from within your spirit for so long, about embracing the truth that has risen slowly, steadily, lovingly through every part of this journey. The choice before you is simple, sacred, and powerful. Will you take what is yours? Your future does not hinge on perfection. It does not rely on flawless confidence. It does not require endless certainty. It asks only for willingness, for a heart that is ready to align with what is true, even if your hands tremble as you reach for it. You may feel the old voice whispering that you are not ready. You may sense the familiar tug of fear telling you to wait. But deeper than fear, deeper than doubt, deeper than every old barrier, there is a quiet truth pulsing within you. You are ready now. Ready not because everything is settled, but because you are no longer the version of yourself who shrank beneath your own power. This is the moment where you choose to step out of almost and into finally, out of hesitation and into alignment, out of survival and into living. It will not feel like a leap. It will feel like a return to the path you were always meant to walk. This choice is not about forcing a transformation. It is about accepting the one that has already begun within you. You have felt the shift. You have sensed the awakening. You have heard the whisper again and again calling you closer to your own becoming. And so now, my child, I ask you to gently open your heart to what comes next. This is the moment where you stand in your truth without shrinking, where you let go of the identity built from wounds and step into the identity born from wisdom, where you allow yourself to desire without shame, to move without fear, to speak without silencing yourself. It is the moment where you become an active participant in your own unfolding. Choosing to take what is yours is an act of trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in the journey. Trust in the guidance that has carried you from the beginning. Trust in the new life you feel rising inside you. It is choosing to believe that your future is not fragile. It is choosing to believe that your hope is not naive. It is choosing to believe that stepping forward is safer than standing still. It is choosing to believe that you are allowed to receive what your spirit has held for so long. And as you choose, you must also declare. Words carry power, especially when they align with truth. Spoken declarations are not demands upon the world. They are reminders to your own soul. They anchor your spirit in clarity. They reshape the patterns that once whispered fear. They turn your internal direction toward what is real and steady. When you declare, you are not trying to convince yourself. You are affirming what is already awakening within you. So, my beloved, breathe deeply. Feel the stillness settle. And let these declarations rise from your spirit with honesty and intention. Speak them not from striving, but from alignment. I choose myself without apology. Let this settle into the places where you once shrank to avoid disappointing others. Feel it soften the tension you carry. Feel it awaken the permission you have long denied yourself. I am ready for what is meant for me. Not because you feel fearless, but because readiness is not the absence of fear, it is a presence of willingness. I release what no longer reflects my truth. Let this declaration dismantle the guilt that once kept you tied to what drained your soul. Let it free you from environments that could not hold your heart with care. I walk forward with clarity and peace. Allow this to quiet the old confusion. Let it show your mind a path that had been hidden beneath layers of noise. I receive what is mine with open hands. Feel this shift the way you hold your desires. Feel it loosen the old patterns of unworthiness. Feel it make room for abundance, and not material abundance, but emotional, spiritual, and internal fullness. I trust the unfolding of my life. Let this steady the part of you that wants to control every outcome. Trust does not mean passivity. It means moving with the current of truth rather than resisting it. I accept the life calling my name. Say it again if you need to. You are allowed to accept the life that fits your spirit instead of the life that fit your survival. These declarations are not simply words, they are commitments. Commitments to your becoming. Commitments to your alignment. Commitments to your truth. And every time you speak them, you reaffirm the choice that stands before you now. My beloved, the threshold is open. The path is lit. The invitation is extended. You are not stepping into uncertainty. You are stepping into alignment. You are not moving blindly. You are moving with clarity. You are not risking everything. You are reclaiming what has always been yours. And so I speak to you with a tenderness deeper than breath. Take what is yours. Not with force. Not with fear. With certainty. With openness. With the quiet authority that comes from knowing that you are walking in truth. You are ready. And as you step forward, I am with you, steady, present, unwavering, guiding you into the life that has been waiting for you all along. My beloved, let us come to a gentle close. Breathe softly now. Feel the calm that has settled around you, the clarity that has awakened within you, the quiet steadiness that now rests in the spaces where fear once lived. This is the sealing of everything we have walked through together, the invitation, the unveiling, the releasing, the alignment, and the choosing. You have stepped through an inner threshold, and the shift within you is real. You are not who you were when we began. You are softer in the right places, stronger in the true places, clearer in the deep places. You have allowed yourself to see truth, to lay down weight, to rise into alignment, and to declare your readiness. And now I place my hand over your heart, not to burden it, but to bless it, to affirm what you already know but needed to feel deeply. You are stepping into a new chapter with intention, with awareness, with courage. Carry this knowing with you as you move forward. You are allowed to receive the life that aligns with your spirit. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to walk in peace. You are allowed to trust the whisper of your becoming. And you are allowed, fully, freely, wholeheartedly, to take what is yours. Go gently, my beloved, and let this truth be your seal.